Do you know that the reason many Black Americans are known for their strength and resilience lies deeply in the harrowing experiences of their forefathers during the transatlantic slave trade? The brutal journey to America was not for the weak. Countless individuals perished along the way, unable to survive the unimaginable conditions. Those who made it through were the strongest, the ones who endured physical, emotional, and spiritual hardships that would break most people. They were not just survivors. Many of them were warriors, feared and revered in their homelands, and they possessed both physical and spiritual power. These warriors, captives of war, and defiant individuals were forced into slavery, but they carried with them the bloodlines of endurance and fearlessness, which would echo through their descendants for generations. When we look at Black Americans today, we see the manifestation of this legacy. Take the world of boxing as an example. Some of the greatest boxers to ever live were Black Americans, giants in every sense of the word, in both body and spirit. Muhammad Ali, widely regarded as the greatest boxer of all time, was known not only for his prowess in the ring, but also for his indomitable spirit and fearlessness outside of it. Ali's strength was rooted in more than just physicality. It was the warrior spirit passed down through generations of his African ancestors. George Foreman, another towering figure in the boxing world, held 2 heavyweight championships decades apart, showing incredible physical and mental resilience. Joe Frazier, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, and Floyd Mayweather have all left an indelible mark on the world of boxing, showcasing their unique styles, strengths, and determination. Joe Frazier, known for his relentless pressure and powerful left hook, cemented his legacy with his legendary bouts against Muhammad Ali, particularly their Fight of the Century and the brutal Thriller in Manila. Frazier's tenacity in the ring earned him the heavyweight championship and solidified his status as one of the sport's greatest. Mike Tyson, often regarded as one of the most ferocious fighters in boxing history, dominated the heavyweight division in the late 1980s with his explosive power and aggressive style. Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion ever at the age of 20 and terrified opponents with his ability to knock out challengers in the early rounds. Evander Holyfield, known for his resilience and courage, became the first boxer to win the heavyweight title 4 times. His epic battles with Tyson, including the infamous ear-biting incident, highlighted his toughness and unwavering will. Floyd Mayweather, a defensive genius, dominated the sport with his unmatched technical skill and tactical brilliance. With an undefeated record, Mayweather mastered the art of avoiding punishment while delivering precise counterpunches, earning him multiple world titles across 5 weight divisions and the title of one of the best pound-for-pound fighters ever. All these fighters stand out as examples of Black American fighters who have dominated their sport with power, precision, and perseverance. Do you think these champions emerged from nothing? No, they inherited their strength from their ancestors, African slaves who had been warriors and kings before they were captured and sold. These slaves had survived battles, torture, and the journey across the ocean. Their descendants, now Black Americans, carry the same genes that allowed them to survive and thrive in the most brutal conditions. It's not just in boxing where we see the indomitable spirit and resilience of Black Americans. Look at individuals like Sean Combs, also known as Puff Daddy. Despite facing multiple lawsuits in recent months, including serious allegations of sexual assault and other crimes, Sean Combs continues to be a dominant figure in the entertainment industry. On September 17th, he was indicted on charges of sex trafficking by force, racketeering conspiracy, fraud or coercion, and transporting for prostitution. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, responded by calling it an unjust prosecution and defended Combs as an innocent man with nothing to hide. What makes someone like Combs stand out so powerfully in the entertainment world? How has he maintained such a high level of influence and success for over 30 years without faltering, despite the controversies and challenges he's faced? This isn't random. Combs comes from a bloodline that runs deep in African warrior ancestry, descendants of those who were fearless, intelligent and strategic in their leadership. His relentless drive, commanding presence, and unapologetic approach to life reflect these traits. His ancestors were not ordinary people. They were the kind of individuals who led communities, ruled lands, and faced danger with unwavering courage. They had an iron will and a ruthless nature that enabled them to survive and thrive, even in the most adverse conditions. The descendants of African warriors, like Combs, carry traits that are anything but ordinary. These individuals have, for centuries, demonstrated qualities that set them apart: fearlessness, determination, and a raw, unfiltered approach to both life and leadership. Sean Combs didn't rise to his current level of success by luck or by accident. It's not mere talent that has kept him at the forefront of the music and entertainment industries for decades. No ordinary human being could build an empire like his, withstanding the kind of scrutiny, pressure, and controversy that he has faced, all while continuing to expand his influence and wealth. What Combs has done over the past 30 years, navigating the volatile entertainment industry, building a business empire, and even facing repeated legal challenges, requires more than just skill or ambition. It demands a level of cunning, toughness, and even ruthlessness that most people simply do not possess. Combs' ability to not only survive, but thrive in such an environment suggests that he has inherited much more than just physical attributes from his ancestors. His relentless nature, his ability to dominate, and his sheer willpower are echoes of the traits that once helped his forefathers survive the unimaginable brutality of slavery. If you don't have a trait of wickedness and humorlessness, it's impossible to do what Combs has done for over 3 decades without being brought down. His ability to continue evolving, even when facing serious criminal charges and public backlash, speaks to an inner strength and resilience that goes far beyond the ordinary. This should tell us something critical about the people who survived the transatlantic slave trade and endured the horrors of slavery. They were not just mere ancestors. They were like gods in their strength and will to survive. The brutal conditions of slavery weeded out the weak and left only the strongest, the most determined, and the most resilient individuals alive. These survivors were not just ordinary people. They were individuals of extraordinary toughness and mental fortitude. Their descendants, like Combs, carry this legacy. This is why figures like him seem almost untouchable in the way they rise and persist despite opposition. Their ancestors were hardened by unimaginable pain, suffering, and endurance. And that legacy continues to show itself in their descendants, who now navigate different kinds of battles in their modern lives. This narrative also forces us to confront the complexities of inherited traits, both good and bad. The same tenacity that drove Combs to build an entertainment empire could also manifest in other ways, such as his alleged involvement in criminal activities. Yet, this is a reflection of the unyielding nature passed down through generations. It's a reminder that those who survived the brutalities of slavery were not just victims. They were strong, fierce, and relentless. and their descendants, like Sean Combs, continue to embody these traits, whether for good or ill. So the next time you wonder how someone like Sean Combs has managed to achieve so much for so long in such a cutthroat world, remember, no ordinary person could do it. The bloodlines of survivors, warriors, kings, and fearless leaders run through him. And as long as those bloodlines exist, the descendants of those who survived the horrors of slavery will continue to rise to power, influence, and success. But it's essential to remember that not every Black American carries a legacy of violence or notoriety. Among the many powerful figures, there are those whose strength has been used for good, leaders who have shaped history for the better. Consider Martin Luther King Jr., whose legacy of nonviolent resistance led to significant advances in civil rights for Black Americans. Then there's Barack Obama, the first Black president of the United States, whose calm intelligence and leadership were a beacon of hope for millions. Individuals like Maya Angelou, who used her voice to empower others through her poetry and writing, and Harriet Tubman, who led hundreds of slaves to freedom through the Underground Railroad, are just a few examples of the many positive figures who have drawn from their heritage of resilience to bring about lasting change. On the flip side, the notorious nature of some Black Americans comes from their ancestors' strength, warriors and fighters whose fearlessness could be both a blessing and a curse. These characteristics, bred from centuries of battle, struggle and survival, can sometimes lead to aggression or violence in a modern context, where that warrior spirit may not always have a place to be constructively channeled. Among the most notorious Black Americans of all time are figures like 1. Malcolm X, a fearless activist who initially promoted the use of any means necessary to achieve Black liberation. Malcolm X's radical approach to civil rights, while controversial, made him one of the most prominent figures in the struggle for Black empowerment. 2. Tupac Shakur. More than just a rapper, Tupac became a symbol of rebellion against the system. His confrontational lyrics spoke of the struggles faced by Black Americans, and his life and death remain wrapped in mystery and notoriety. 3. Jack Johnson. The first Black heavyweight champion of the world, Johnson faced intense racism throughout his career. His defiance of societal norms, especially in his relationships with white women, made him both a hero and a target of hate. 4. Richard Pryor. A comedian whose raw, no-holds-barred approach to addressing racial and social issues made him a notorious figure in comedy. Pryor's honesty about his struggles with addiction and his unfiltered performances set him apart. 5. Suge Knight. One of the most controversial figures in the music industry, Suge Knight's involvement with Death Row Records and the violence that surrounded him made him notorious both within the industry and beyond. However, even as we highlight notorious figures, it is critical to acknowledge the countless Black Americans who have used their strength for positive change. Figures such as 1. Martin Luther King Jr., the ultimate symbol of peaceful resistance. His leadership in the civil rights movement helped dismantle segregation and fight for equal rights. 2. Barack Obama. As the first Black president of the United States, his presidency symbolized hope and progress for many in America and around the world. 3. Maya Angelou, a poet and author whose works have inspired millions. Maya Angelou's writing focused on resilience, strength, and the beauty of the human spirit. 4. Harriet Tubman, a former slave who risked her life to lead hundreds of others to freedom. Tubman's strength and courage have made her a symbol of bravery and justice. 5. Rosa Parks. Her refusal to give up her seat on a segregated bus sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. As we reflect on this complex history, we must ask ourselves, are Americans reaping what they sowed? The legacy of slavery, where human beings were brutalized and treated as commodities, has had lasting effects on the psyche of both the descendants of the enslaved and the society that enslaved them. The physical, emotional, and spiritual trauma endured by African slaves has rippled through generations, contributing to the unique strengths, struggles, and challenges faced by Black Americans today. The violence, power, and resilience seen in some Black Americans today are remnants of a past filled with warriors, survivors, and fighters. And just as some carry the pain and anger of their ancestors, others have turned that energy into activism, leadership, and the pursuit of justice. If you're interested in more stories like this, subscribe to Black Stories Untold for more insightful narratives. Don't forget to comment where you're watching from, share your thoughts, and let us know what stories you want to hear next. Share this video with others, and together, let's uncover the rich and complex history that shaped the Black American experience.